We miss you, Saint Dog.
Yo, Cottonmouth Kings don't stand for a gang. Cottonmouth Kings just let the nuts hang.
Yeah, this is about a beat that make you move your feet. Then on top of that, put the code to the street. Just to get away, help to keep you alive. You getting all this from 1495.
You know, I'm down with all this shit. There's very little that came from suburban noise, past or present, that I don't care for. In fact, I really can't think of anything. I don't know, I guess I'm not much for funk junkies, but more on them some other time. Tonight, we're going to the ghetto.
Cadillac pimp shit.
People have been asking me, and I don't know, I guess it's a tough question, but they want to know who is my favorite subnoise MC of all time. Shit, well, I mean, presently I'd have to say Chucky Chuck. Obnoxious is tight. I've always loved Pakalika's vocal stylings, honestly, and I think Grand Vernacular's release on the label is near perfection. You know, Judge D, Big B's undeniable, as is Richter. But favorite of all time? Well, I mean, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I guess it's an easy one for me.
1995, I provide a ghetto guy with your the details that'll keep you alive. If I buy, you provide right over the track. From the good and bad side, and safely make it pass like a map in the press. Designed to keep you in close.
And the same goes for the release of Ghetto Guide, which in my opinion is a perfect album and a great way to introduce someone to the label and to the overall sound. I'm hoping soon to do a really, deep dive on the album, but for now, I thought I'd just check in with you guys and see if Ghetto Guide is really as great as I think it is. Let me know what you think down in the comments. With Ghetto Guide, we do get quite the variety of tracks and vibes, and, there is some heavy-duty storytelling going on here, as well as some top-notch club songs. Overall, being a crazy journey through the mind of Saint Dog, and through the suburban ghetto and his poetic way of storytelling. By the way, I really wish this was on vinyl. Come on, Subnoise. Prior to the release of Ghetto Guide, an EP was released called Spun Craze by Saint Dog and his brother Big Hoss, a project that featured some hard-hitting hip-hop and some tongue-in-cheek kind of, acoustic punk tunes, making for an overall fun listen, and would kind of show the trademarks of Saint Dog that would basically stick with him to the end. The EP would come to life after Saint Dog quit Cottonmouth Kings in late 1999 after some relentless touring. At the same time, his brother was also being released from prison, so I guess it all kind of worked out. And in Saint's own words, it was a fork in the road. It was musical differences. It just kind of came to the point where it was time to go. I went one way, they were going another way, and I kind of just pulled out. It was mutual. Big Hoss was getting out of prison, and I was trying to post up. In a nutshell, I guess I just wanted to kick it. I was more worried about getting in an old school ride and just cruising the coast and surfing. I was kind of burnt out on traveling all the time. As we all know, Big Hoss was also featured on Royal Highness, rapping through a phone on the cell block, and all those tracks are still heavy hitters today. By this point, Kevin Zinger had already introduced Mellow Man Ace to Saint Dog, and needless to say, the guys really hit it off, as Ace would go on to be featured on Spun Craze and produce some tracks as well as be featured on Ghetto Guide. After the self-release of Spun Craze, Saint would link up with Suburban Noise Records with hopes of working together. What we would eventually get was Ghetto Guide. Saint Dog stated, "I came back to Suburban Noise because it was an avenue to get my music back, to be able to target the old market and get right back and let everybody know who used to know me when I was in Cottonmouth Kings. It was a direct end to that market. That way people could hopefully bring it to bigger and better things and just continue to keep it rolling." Which is a smart move from Saint Dog. I mean, make sure you at least get that crowd. 2004 would see the release of the epic Ghetto Guide. And this was my 2004 and my 2005. God damn, all these years later, there are some real bangers here. I'd say my personal phase are People Into Making Progress, Big West Coastin', First Class White Trash. I mean, they're all perfection. We would get a few low-budget videos for the album. That was pretty sweet. And videos that I consider to be classics as far as hip-hop goes in general. Like, throw these in the mix. and it just works. And you kind of see the duality here, as Money Talks is indeed a lot more playful than the somber Now I Lay Me. A track where you can really see how religious leaning Saint Dog was, and it's really cool that he put this out there. 2 years later, in 2006, we get the release of USA, or Unconformable Social Amputees, on Subnoise, and in 2019 we got Bozo on Subnoise and Force 5 Records. And if you want me to touch on those, let me know. But I think that overall, even though he only had 3 solo albums, Ghetto Guide seemed to be the most focused and prime that we've seen Saint Dog since the early days. And not to shade the other albums or anything, but I mean, Ghetto Guide really does work as an album. The storytelling is there. It feels almost epic if you listen to it in its entirety. It's funny. Like, I love all the features, especially like how Big Hoss is used throughout the entire album. The artwork is fucking on point. I just love this album. And, I mean, you can't really just jam one track, you know?
Inland Empire where I learned my game. Truth be followers, but claim to fame. I have my house on bang, jump on rain, cross that ass over, leave your ankles sprained. If I hit a train, I'ma tell you about it. And if you get raped, that's why Saint don't doubt me. Give me that time. Yeah.
Saint Dog had this to say about the making of Ghetto Guide. I try to put the fun club songs in there, and, you know, just to keep it loose. You gotta have fun with the album. I try to keep it cool like that, you know? But at the same time, I was just reflecting. I was a little angry with all the stuff going on in my life and the stuff that I was seeing. I try to have all that come across in the album, which I think it did. You really do get Saint's POV in this album. And what else can I say? I absolutely love this album, and I recommend it for any fan of music. I would say it's a snapshot of the times or something like that, but I feel it transcends that term. When something ages like a fine wine and is every year even more relevant, it's more than simple nostalgia or a moment in time, if you will. It's Saint motherfucking Dog. Rest in peace, buddy. We missed the hell out of you.
Cadillac pimp shit.
I linked all the live footage and whatnot that I used in this video down in the description. Please, guys, go show them some love. Some really cool footage there. You'll be able to catch me soon on a much larger platform. We'll talk more about that sometime. And hey guys, I very much appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We have t-shirts for sale right now, only $10. Hit me up at my Cash App right there, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, Staunch Gang. We'll be back with some more KMK Chronicles very soon. Be sure to hit that notification bell to stay notified for all of the live streams coming up. Love you guys. Peace. Mwah. Look at that guy. This dude just ran right through the shot, you fucking asshole. Oh, man. Isn't it? I'm excited to have some new Brad X, dude. Very excited. And knowing that Doug Carrion's out there and that he's probably messing around with Dirtball, man, I think we're going to get some good shit, guys. I think we're going to get some good fucking music from Brad X. I'm going to separate all these music video reviews I did tonight. If you missed out, Subnoise Files live streams are the place to be. But I'm going to be separating all of them out, and I'm going to send him the link or whatever. So he's going to know, man. Brad knows. I sent him the video I did about him, whatever I told you guys to comment and everything. I let him know, say, hey, dude, a lot of people are showing love. People want to know what's up. And so he's keeping in touch. At any moment, the guy could just stop responding, you know. So it is what it is. I told him, I was like, hey, dude, if I'm bothering you at all, like, by the way, if I'm bothering you at all, just let me know. I'll fuck off. You know, I got mad respect for the guy. And he was like, no, dude, you know, it's all good. I'm just busy. We'll talk later. I was cool, man. So, you know, it is what it is. French Brazil says, Brad X has a very special place in my heart, man. Definitely. And now, if you remember, during the initial Cotton Eye Kings Rise and Fall video I did, a lot has changed since then. Not just, you know, musically with the group and with the people, but with my own perspective. I had a lot of things wrong back then because nobody knew what to actually think. But I was pretty harsh on Brad about him being the worst parts and this and that, and not really getting his contributions, because I always assumed wrongfully that the punk rock era of Brad X was always just kind of beefed up, kind of like, oh, I was in a band, so therefore punk, whatever. It wasn't until like actually going back and getting into it and realizing like the dude really had a lot going. There would be none of this probably without him. You know what I mean? Definitely no KMK. But a lot of this shit, a lot of the movement, a lot of the sound, a lot of the swag, a lot of the style, a lot of the aesthetic, none of that would be here, I don't think. Not in this fashion without him. And you gotta show some love where it's due. And I've personally pretty embarrassed to have said some of the things I said in that original video. I went back and cut out some stuff here and there that I thought was pretty cringy personally, but I try to leave up the original perspective because I like for people to see how my perspective changed, how our perspective can change, and how we should all take a page out of Brad X's book, out of Cottonmouth King's book, out of Suburban Noise Records book, out of all the members. We should take a page out of their book, as I said before, and we should all learn some lessons. We should spread those positive vibes they were preaching. We should take everything that they were pushing and try to bring it full circle and get on the same page instead of a bunch of different pages. So, it is what it is, man.